Should Muslims select who embraces Islam? Or should Muslims select who receives support among new converts? And yes, some Muslims seriously think about that. If you remember the podcast I filmed with Tony Saleh Whelbourne, who runs the initiative Mu'alif in Nottingham, you probably remember the terms of high maintenance, low quality convert and high quality, low maintenance convert.
The high quality, low maintenance convert and the high maintenance, low quality convert.
Hello and welcome. My name is William. I am a researcher in Sociology at the University of Warwick in the UK, and this is a video series around my latest book, Muslims in the Neoliberal Empire: How the Society Colonizes Us and What Can We Do About It. Low quality, high maintenance converts refers to those new Muslims who have a history of mental health, a criminal record, who are from the working class, people who are of the lowest echelons of the society, or people who need a lot of support. In the beginning of the Quranic revelation, these were the first companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Those who were poor, people who were in debt, people who were enslaved, former slaves. And it was the main purpose of the Ummah, a community of shared solidarity where you have my back and I have yours and people support each other, right? But now in modern days, some people argue that the community should only support high-quality, low-maintenance converts. So converts who are wealthy, who are, let's say, private school educated, who went to Oxford, Cambridge, who are landowners, who belong to the upper classes of the society, or who are extremely rich, or already extremely famous, or who hold some kind of political power. And hearing this, you might be shocked as me that, how come some Muslims think this seriously where the Ummah is supposed to be for everyone? But these ideas come from a book which is titled The Big Step by Mahdi Locke, How to Survive Islam in the Anglosphere, published in 2018. Among others, because it is not the only person that suggested a kind of triage center for converts and born Muslims alike. My main contention with this dichotomy is that it supposes that people stay the same, that if you are high maintenance at some point in your life, you will be high maintenance for the rest of your life. Do you actually think that people stay the same over their life? In my podcast series, for example, we went through Tony's Saleh stories, how he went from suffering from various health issues and unemployment and managed to get up on his feet and run this organization, or Matt, who has been diagnosed Asperger's and is an accomplished author and filmmaker. Through his initiative Mu'alif, Tony Saleh has saved numerous lives, people who were again struggling with addiction, who wanted to end their lives. And you know what we say? If you save one life, how many people do you save? Yeah, if you save one life, it's as if you've saved the whole of humanity. Thank you. So are Tony and Matt still low-quality Muslims with everything they've done for the Ummah? And well, yes, people argue that they are still low-quality because they don't make six figures, because they don't have 1 million followers. So let me ask you the question, what weighs more, what is heavier in God's scale of deeds? The fact that he's making or not six figures, or the fact that they've probably saved lives just because of their words? What matters more in the eyes of God? And vice versa. I've made a video about all these, what I call Insta Converts, people who publicize their Shahada on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and gather super quickly millions of followers and get privileges. Governments in Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, rolls out the red carpet for them. And some of them publicly embrace Islam just to gain followers, just to make money. And one day or two after the Shahada, they publicize an online course, how to be a perfect Muslim. So, okay, they are high-value Muslims, but are they high-quality Muslims? Is quality equal to the amount of money you bring in your own pockets? Is quality equal to the number of followers you have? Is high quality defined by your worldly possessions? How do people justify this kind of reasoning? For them, it's practical. If you support new Muslims who are famous, rich, or powerful, they think that it is able to build bridges between the West, between governments, between the far right and the rest of the Muslims, or Islam. They think that Muslims are going to have a seat at the table of the government because of these high-profile converts. But let's remember, Hamza Yusuf, the Hamza Yusuf, joined the Trump administration. Did it change anything for the political and economic situation of Muslims around the world. About building bridges, let me refer to my video I made about assimilation in Poland and the Tatars, who are Muslim families settled since the 14th century in Poland. These are people who are completely assimilated, recognized by the government, but still, did their presence all these centuries in Poland and the services they've done to the country, has this changed in any way the perception of Islam among Polish people? Not at all. Second, they argue it is because the Muslim community doesn't have the resources to support everyone, and therefore they have to be selective. Muslims who descend from poor immigrant families are in survival mode. So how do you expect them, or how do you expect these mosques to help and guide new Muslims? Third argument is that new Muslims cannot and should not seek knowledge in the mosque or locally through born Muslims, because they argue that most born Muslims do not practice Islam the way it should be practiced. Instead, they should seek knowledge in recognized centers of excellence such as Al-Azhar, Medina, or Western centers of excellence knowledge like Zaytuna, Cambridge Muslim College, and so on. The fourth reason people give for not giving support to low-quality, high-maintenance converts is that because if Muslims leave because they weren't supported or they were mistreated by other Muslims, then it's fine. It's natural selection. For every Muslim who leaves, there's 10 more who embrace Islam. They say that if these Muslims leave, it's because they weren't strong enough. And let me tell you, the people who say this, they don't believe in the theory of evolution, but what they do in practice is called social Darwinism. While Islam is supposed to be for everyone, you argue that these people have to be selected. You argue that Islam is only for the strongest. Have you ever wondered why converts are one of the categories of those who are rightfully recipients of zakat? So it tells you how important they are for the religion. So when people neglect or reject converts, saying that if they leave Islam, if they're being mistreated, if they didn't receive guidance, it's their own fault, it basically rejects the responsibility of the whole community on their own shoulder, on the shoulders of people who literally have come from nothing. Do you realize it doesn't make any sense? How people are supposed to gain knowledge and guidance if there is no one in the first place to offer them guidance and knowledge? Do you want them to go on a random website on the internet or listen to some preacher? Islam was never meant to be lived in isolation. Why are there so many verses about believers being brothers and sisters to each other? Why? If people are supposed to live on their own and figure out everything in isolation. This idea that you are on your own is a very, very modern and neoliberal idea. You know, neoliberalism is this framework that says that a self-made man, it's everyone for themselves. Community doesn't exist. It's this idea that, if you're poor, then go figure out by yourself how to get rich and do it yourself. Don't expect any support. And people then apply the same mindset to Islam. That, if you want to be Muslim, you're on your own. Nobody's going to help you. Figure out on your own. But since when do you have an idea in Islam such as the self-made Muslim? I mean, sure, it exists, but are Muslims supposed to figure out things on their own without any guidance and knowledge? But these ideas are a perfect illustration, I think, on how the mindset popularized by people like Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan in the US have stemmed into the Muslim collective psyche. People have literally been colonized by these ideas and applied them to some distorted version of the religion where no one is supposed to support anyone else. It's everyone on their own. The Islamophobes, the racists, the colonists, the imperialists, they have applied this very strategy of dividing people. So we're going to do our own version of it. We're going to divide Muslims. Those who deserve our support, the rich, the famous, the powerful, and those who do not deserve our support. So no wonder how divided have communities become, especially in countries like the UK, or, people are divided by ethnicity, class, education levels of wealth, not mentioning political and religious orientations. So the question is, do we want to create more divisions? Do we want to support this system of divide and conquer, or do we want to change things? And changing things supposed to, it's not easy, but supporting, giving even a few words of reassurance or support to anyone we see struggling, especially if they're new to the faith. Were the first companions of the Prophet told that, oh no, you're poor, go figure out things on your own, or you were a slave, go and figure things out on your own? Would have this wonderful movement started if the Prophet rejected people based on their income or their cultural, social background or their bloodline? No, the Prophet welcomed these people, supported them. It started small, but with this philosophy that with numbers, together, we become stronger. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, take care of yourselves and each other.